अस्त्युत्तरस्यां दिशिदेवतात्मा हिमालयो नाम नगाधिराजः पूर्वापरौ तोयनिधिवगाह्य स्थितः पृथिव्या इव मानदण्डः. We did till in the shloka. 58. Bhavishyatah patyurumacha shambhoho samasasada pratyahara bhumim yogat sa cha antaha. So yogat sachantah paramatma samgam drishtva paranjyotir upararama. Shiva's tapas is completed with this shloka. So as Uma entered, Shiva also stopped his tapas and he came out of that samadhi state after seeing the Paranjyoti, Swayanjyoti Swarupa. So Bhavishyataha Patyuhu Uma Shambhoho Uma cha Shambhoho Pratihara Bhumim Samasasada. Uma Parvati arrived at the Pratihara Bhumi, that is the entrance foyer of where Shiva was doing tapas, and he also at the same time as she came in, he also came out of his tapas. So both happened at the same time. So next one is he saw the Paranjyoti, Swayanjyoti Swarupa, Atma Swarupam, and he came out of it, right? He also now, the process of how he came out of that yogic posture is described here. Very beautiful. Tato bhujangadhipatehe phana. Cholunga.
Shloka, can you just display it, please? Thanks.
Okay, this is the 58th shloka. We finished with this.
Here on 60, are you able to see?
Now we have to do the 59th. 1 minute. Which one? Oh, okay. I was showing the other text. I'll show this text. Sorry. Illa, correct. No, we are in this now. Sorry. Tato bhujangadhipatehe phanabhihi adhah katanchid dhrita bhumi bhagaha shanaih krita prana vimuktirishaha paryanka bandham nibidam bibheda. Dhrita bhumi ishaha ishvaraha paryanka bandham nibidam paryanka bandham bibheda. He removed or he stopped. Bibhedana odakkiradunu artham, literally just breaking out of that asana. So he just broke out of his posture. What is that posture? Paryanka bandham. Paryanka bandham is his virasanam. And virasanam, we saw that it is very much like Padmasana. Sometimes they say that only one leg is on top and the other leg is down, can be virasanam. There is another explanation where it says the pada talam yadi uroho upari vartate tarhi padmasanam sampurnataya padameva tatra vartate chet. It is a more compact version of Padmasana is called Virasana. That is why the word nibidam is given here. So it is a nibida dridha paryanka bandham. Tat bibheda, tam bibheda. He removed or he broke out of that posture, paryanka bandha, slowly, shanaihi. And how did he do that? He did not do it with just one movement there. Because he had tatra kumbhakam api nasti, rechakam api nasti. There is a stopping of all the airs inside him, right? So he had to slowly let go of all the pranan that is there inside and bring in the outside pranan also. So by which he will, that process happens very slowly. It's a nirantara pranayamam kind of state. We have to force ourselves to do pranayamam, do accounting, slow our breath and etc. But then Parameshwarasya prayaha tatra swabhavikam eva pranayama procedure is very swabhavikam for him. So he has to do it very slowly. So tataha tadanantaram. Now when he had no antaf prana, there was no heaviness in him. He was very light. Now as the pranan came out and the other pranan also started going in, his body started becoming very heavy, and so that particular portion of the bhumi was carried by Adishesha with great difficulty. it became lopsided. Yeah. So tataha bhujangadipate phanabhihi adhaha kathanchit dhrita bhumibhagaha ishaha. Ishaha yatra yasmin bhumibhage vartate sa bhumibhagaha phanabihi bhujangadipatehe phanabihi kathanchit dhritaha. Somehow bhujangadipati, the Adishesha, with his phana, with his hoods, adhaha, underneath where Shiva was standing, that bhumi bhagam, that pradesham was with great difficulty, it was borne by Bhujangadipati using his phana. This is an adjective to Shiva actually. So dhritaha bhumi bhagaha yasya saha. So the bhumi bhagam of whom, the place where he was standing was totally, it became very heavy, and so Adishesha tried really hard to bear it with his hoods. As he, and then shanaihi krita prana vimuktihi. He slowly let go of, released all of his prana in the body, and then he loosened his virasanam, paryankabandham, nibidam paryankabandham vibheda. Atha yogad uparatasya bhagavataha tad avasana kartavyam vidhim aha. So yogatu uparatasya. Bhagavan adhunatu yogatu uparataha. He had stopped himself from yoga. And what did he do at the end of it? That vidhi, that procedure is being described in the shloka. As soon as he completed his yoga, he loosened his asanam. So that process is being described here. Avasanam is end. Yoga avasane kimapi kartavyam vartate tat kartavyasya vidhihi atra uchyate, varnyate. Tataha Ishaha Paryankabandham Bibheda. So Ishaha Ishvara Bibheda, he broke out of his posture Paryankabandham. Tataha itukte yoga viramanantaram. After the end of seeing Paranjyoti, and he came out of the yoga sana, came out of his samadhi state. Tataha, after that, Ishaha Parameshwaraha Paryankabandham Virasanam Bibheda Visrishtavan. It's like letting go of it or loosening it. Yogat uparate Trailokyatmake Bhagavati Tat Sharira Gauravam api Anantena Kathamapi Sodham Ityaha. Trailokyatmake Bhagavati. He is of the form of the entire world, but at the same time, he drew in a lot of air, prana, into his body as he came to the awakening state. Jagrata avasthayam tu tatra shvasa nishvasayoho avashyakata vartate. Tasmat tatra prana abhipurnam vartate. So there is a weight that is contributed to his body. So gauravam, sharira gauravam. Yogat uparate Trailokyatmake Bhagavati tat sharira gauravam. There is a weight to his body. And Anantena api, Ananta, Adishesha, Katham api sodam. So it was with great difficulty he bore that weight. Bhujangadipatehe panabihi adhaha katanchit dhrita bhumi bhagaha. Bhujanganam naganam adhipatihi anantaha. So Anantasya panabihi iti bahuvachanena sarvasamapi svashaktinam tatreva upayoga vidhanam uktam. All of his hoods were somehow placed underneath just that portion of the bhumi where Shiva was standing. So sarvasamapi shaktinam, his entire power was used only in that particular portion. Tatreva upayoga vidhanam, to carry Shiva. Adhaha Kshititalasya adhobhage kathanchit yatha kathanchit. Somehow dhrita bhumi bhagaha, dhritaha swa avasthana bhumi bhagaha yasya iti parameshwarasya visheshanataya. So that portion was swa avasthanam ityukte, wherever he was standing, that bhumi bhaga, that pradesham was carried by Ananta. Bhagavati yogad uparate tad bharam asahamanena anantena sarva api phanaha tad adobhage eva adhaya bhumihi dhrita abhut. Okay, so when he had completed his yogasana and he came out of it. Actually, in Idla, Mallinatha gives that proper this thing. He says, he gives one nice line. Vayu dharana ahita laghava nivritya. Vayu dharanat, because that Vayu is not going in and out, whereas it is just in a standstill. And because of that, ahita laghavam, there is a lightness in his body before, which is now nivritti. It is gone right now. So bhagavataha gurutvam vartate. That is why it was difficult for Ananta to carry him. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes he gives a beautiful explanation there. Kumbhena kramena puritanam pranavayunam yogashastroktha rechana kramena vimuktim aha shanaihi krita prana vimuktihi iti. So he had also released his prana very slowly. When you do kumbhakam, you don't release it at, see, only for certain particular type of pranayama. Like I think each one, like if you do Brahmari, then there is a, you do it with the sound, you do the release of the airs. If it is, you do fast release is also there. For clearing of the sinuses, there is another way of releasing the air. Yeah. So whereas when you are coming out of yogasana, yogam or samadhi state, then you slowly let out your air and slowly take it in, because you cannot, you're so much into the sattvic state that it is very difficult for you to come into the rajasic state immediately and do everything in a very fast mode. Adhanalda, there is a gradual increase or gradual letting go of prana here, right? So that's why rechanam is letting out, exhaling of the airs. Shanaihi yogashastra ukta kramena ityartha. So slowly, krita prananam sharira vayunam vimuktihi mochanam yena saha. Bhagavata evam prananam vimuktihi krita iti. Bhagavat baddhasya Paryankabandhasya yogashastranugunatvam aha nibidam. So nibidam is the adjective for Paryankabandham there. Nibidam ityukte achidram. So as I said before, achidram, achidratvam yogashastra siddham. Chidram is space. In Padmasana also, there can be a space between the two thighs when you keep just your padatalam on the other thigh. Whereas in Virasana, you're almost in such a manner that your entire shin or calf is completely on the other uru. Both are there so much that there is no space between the legs at all. That is nibidam. It's a nibidam. It's a very firm paryanka bandha, virasana. Achidram, without any space in between. So tato bhujangadhipatehe phanabhihi adah katanchit dhrita bhumi bhagaha shanai krita prana vimuktirishaha paryanka bandham nibidam bibheda. There is the words he uses are also a little Mahaprana letters are being used to show that I think the Gambhiryam of our Nayaka here. Right? You imagine how he comes out of the Samadhi, but at the same time, there is a charismatic person, Nayaka, standing there. You have to imagine a hero here. So he uses a lot of those Mahaprana letters, Dhrita Bhumi Bhagaha iti. Right?
Any alankaras here? So actually, I mean, there's no utpreksha, right?
No.
Kalpanavat tatra baraha vartate bhumau iti nasti.
It is a possibility that suddenly that portion is very heavy. No, you don't know how it can, how can we say that it could be utpreksha. There is Anima, Laghima, Garima and all are one of the siddhis, and it is a very possible that Parameshwarasya tu swabhaviki siddhi.
Yes,
and he doesn't have to make a great effort to bring in that Gauravam or bring in that Laghavam in his body. So maybe at that moment it was something that happened, probably, we don't know the truth behind How can I call it an utpreksha is what I was thinking.
No, I said the part, I'm thinking the part relating to Anantasya Bharavahanam. Is that I'm wondering?
So Ananta as carrying the earth or carrying all of the loka. So Ananta is Adishesha, Sankarshana. He is another avataram. He is a Vyuha avatara of Vishnu, and he is supposed to reside in the Patalam, carrying all of the 14 worlds on him. So that is Purana Prasiddham api.
Okay.
So it's not like a Kavi Samaya thing where, you know, Yashas is white or Smitham is white. Tadha vaktum na shakyate. This is something that is there in the philosophy also. Right.
Okay.
There is no alankara here as such. Next one. Tasmai shashamsa pranipatya nandi shushrushaya shailasutam upetam praveshayamasa cha bharturenam bhrukshepamatra pravesham. Nandi pranipatya tasmai shailasutam upetam shashamsa. So he told him about Shailasuta, Giriraja Kanya Parvati, who had come there. So he told Shiva, Nandi was the person who was there. She did a namaskaram. Nandi did a namaskara. Nandi pranipatya, he did namaskara to Shiva, and then tasmai, to Shiva, he announced Shashamsa. He announced the arrival of Shailasuta. He announced that she had come there for what? Shishrushaya, right? For Shishrusha. Shishrushaya upetam. In order to Shishrusham kartum upetam. Shishrushaya pratidinam kriyamanaya hetubhutaya. Okay, hetu tritiya. Yeah. One who has come there for doing Shishrusha. So the Shishrusha karanat tatra upetam agatam shailasutam parvatim shashamsa. He informed, Nandi informed Parameshwara about Parvati who had come there for the reason of doing Shishrusha to Parameshwara. Bhartuhu bhrukshepamatra anupravesham enam cha praveshayamasa. He also made her enter or admitted her inside. Nandi enam Parvatim praveshayamasa. He told her, okay, come this way. No, ita iti. He also showed her the way and asked her to come inside to the Pratihara Bhumi, to the place where he was doing tapas. But with what? How did he let her in? Bhartuhu bhrukshepamatra anumata pravesham. He has to give permission. So Nandi goes and asks Shiva and tells him that Parvati is here to do Shishrusha to you. She is going to do a service. Now what do I do? And he also has to give permission to Nandi to let her in. And how did Shiva give permission? He did not say it through words. Bhrukshepamatra anumata pravesham. She was given entry, pravesha, Parvati iti. She was given pravesham or given permission to enter by just his brukshepam, by just moving his eyebrows a little bit. Her entry was permitted by Shiva by a mere sign from his eyebrow. That's all. Okay. It's not something that he used his words. And Nandi is a ingitagnya. He understands the whatever goes on in Shiva's mind and he can relate it also. Now they both have to see here, right? So that is the context that has to come in. So atha naika nayakayoho paraspara darshana upayam aha. Now both of them have to see. That is why Manmatha, who is waiting in the sidelines, can do his work. So Nandi pranipatya shailasutam shushrushaya upetam tasmai shashamsa. Nandishwaraha pranipatya bhrityanam samudacharaha uktaha. So anything that usually a servant or a Shivagana, anybody who is a bhakta there, the first thing, traditionally, they come and do a namaskaram and then vijnapana. They don't do a direct vijnapana. The order of events is always they do a namaskaram and then they start talking. So Shailasutam Parvatim Shushrushaya Pratidinam Kriyamanaya Paricharyaya Hetubhutaya. So na atra kinchit anuchitatvam asti iti bhavaha. There is nothing inappropriate for her to do, for Parvati to come in here at this moment. So it is something that she has always been doing, Shishrusha, and it is something that she's been doing every day right from the time that, from the first Sarga that we saw. She has been doing this paricharya. So there is no anuchitatvam there. So devasyato sarva sevyatvat. Ishvara can be, he can be served by everybody. So there is no gender bias or anything there. Upetam, praptam, tasmai, yogat uparatattvena, labdha avasaraya haraya, shashamsa niveditavan. So he told him, because Shiva had also stopped his yogasana, that is his samadhi, and hence labdha avasaraya, there is an opportunity to convey to him. So haraya shashamsa niveditavan. This fourth case, Mallinatha says it is Kriya Grahanate Chaturthi iti. So you can have Karmana Yam Abhipraiti Sasampradhanam, right? Karma can also be, so with the karma, whomever you are talking about, that person will get the Chaturthi, Sampradhana, Samgya, and then Chaturthi. You can also have Kriya Yam Abhipraiti. So that is Shamsana Kriya Yam Abhipraiti. Whom is this conveying or information going to? The recipient can also be in fourth case. So Nivedananantaram hara anugnya purassarim nandinaha pravrittim aha. The pravritti is vyavaharaha. The behavior of Nandi after getting the permission of Shiva, he has to get the permission of Shiva. He conveys it to him and then gets the permission of Shiva. So what does he do? Bhartuhu bhrukshepamatra anubata praveshamesham enam praveshayamasa. So Bhartuhu swaminaha harasya Bhruvaha kshepaha bhrukshepaha. Kshepaha is only chalanam. Just a little bit movement of the eyebrow. That's all. Ekasyaha bhruvaha. Not both. If both are there, then it means it is surprise. So if it is just one, it can be anugnya, it can be helanam. Depending on the context, the action. This is an anubhava. So it can be however you want. So ekasyaha bhruvaha, only one eyebrow he moved. Anena sattvajam madhuryam uktam. Sattvajam madhuryam. It's a grace with which he acts and gives permission for Parvati to enter. Slakshnaha vikaraha. Slakshnaha is more beautiful. Vikaraha, a change. Madhuryam sankshobhe sumahatyapi. When there is a great agitation, but how he reveals it is a very small action, then it is called madhuryam, it seems. If there is a very simple action for a great this thing. See, Parvati is entering here and Manmatha has brought in the spring. I'm sure Shiva would also be acclimatized by now to what is happening around him, right? He will know Sarvagnastu Saha Sarvam Janatyeva. Avrikku theriyadadu irukadu. So he would have known what is happening here. But even in that, despite all that, Vikara heto sati vikriyante yeshanna chetamsi tayeva dhiraha iti prathama sarge vartate. Even when there is a vikara hetau sati, when there is a reason for a temptation, still if his mind is very steadfast, then he is called a dhira. Atratu parameshwaraha dhiraha yoginam api yogi. Then even when there is a cause for temptation, it's just a very slight vikaram of bhrukshepaha. That's all. So anumataha anugnataha praveshaha samipa praptihi, for her to enter in. Enam parvatim praveshayamasa antarbhagam prapayamasa, he let her in. There is a samuchaya alankara here. So eka kartrikayoho shamsana praveshana kriyayoho samuchaye atra cha shabdaha. Or you don't need samuchaya alankara here. It is just to show that the same karta of the earlier kriya is doing the kriya of the second kriya also. So if we take it as two different sentences here, the first sentence has a karta here. Nandi pranipatya shushrushaya upetam shailasutam tasmai shashamsa. Enam bhrukshepamatra bhartuhu bhrukshepamatra anumata praveshamenam praveshayamasa cha. There is no karta for the second sentence. So you have to take the karta from here. But what gives that it's the same karta? This cha padam is what gives you the fact that shashamsa praveshayamasa cha. Iti eka kartrika anvayam. The cha just gives you the connection between both kriya padam to one karta. So tasmai shashamsa pranipatyanandi shushrushaya shailasutam upetam praveshayamasa cha bharturenam bhrukshepamatranu mata pravesham. Next, both her Saki do a namaskara and then Uma also does a namaskara. We'll look at this next week. Okay, stop.